All right, welcome everyone to all the executives and industry leaders joining us today. Thanks for tuning into the strategic briefing. The events of 2020 really threw a wrench into global supply chains and completely flipped consumer behavior on its head. But look at where we are now. Years later, we can clearly see this wasn't just a temporary blip. No way. We're looking at a complete structural reshaping of exactly how consumers are buying leather accessories. So this explainer is designed specifically for you, the folks actually steering the ship at brands, manufacturing firms, and retail operations. We're going to break down this massive shift in post-COVID demand, and most importantly, explain exactly why this matters for your bottom line and your future market share. Let's dive right in. Here's the roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the pre-COVID baseline, move on to the massive work-from-home disruption, and then tackle the new sustainability mandate. After that, we'll look at the travel rebound, digital-first market domination, and finally, wrap things up with strategic imperatives for tomorrow. Okay, part one, the pre-COVID baseline. Look, the old consumer mindset, it's effectively dead. Think back to before 2020. The luxury leather market was heavily driven by fashion trends, the pure prestige of a luxury brand, rigid seasonal collections, and of course, impulse buys. Consumers in major markets across Europe, North America, and Asia were essentially just buying status. Functionality? That was totally secondary. It was all about the logo and the overall look. But today, that post-COVID consumer is prioritizing practicality, sustainability, versatility, and sheer long-term value. As an executive, the takeaway here is pretty stark. You literally cannot rely solely on aesthetic style and brand prestige anymore if you want to drive sales volume. Moving right along to part two, the work-from-home disruption. So when offices suddenly closed their doors, the traditional corporate uniform basically went out the window, right? And it took traditional accessories down right along with it. We saw a really sharp drop in things like traditional business briefcases, formal portfolios, and those rigid corporate bags. Honestly, they just didn't fit the new reality anymore. On the flip side, functionality officially overtook fashion. We saw an absolute surge in laptop sleeves, tech organizers, crossbody bags, and compact everyday carry items. Your customers today are looking for flexible lifestyle products. They need a leather good that transitions seamlessly from their home office, straight to a local coffee shop, and then into a hybrid workspace. It's a whole new ballgame. Which brings us to part three, the new sustainability mandate. Nowadays, you aren't just selling a bag or a belt. You're essentially submitting your brand to a consumer audit. The post-pandemic consumer does their homework. Before they even think about clicking buy, they're asking some tough questions. Where was this product made? And how long is this actually going to last? They want to know if it's ethically sourced and what its environmental footprint looks like. Basically, they want total transparency. Fast fashion is out and long-term verifiable value is absolutely in. And here's the reality. If your brand can't confidently answer those questions, your customer is going to immediately pivot to a competitor who can. So how do you pass that consumer audit? Well, your capital allocation has got to pivot. There are a few specific non-negotiable brand investments you need to make to capture this highly conscious consumer. First, you've got to invest in certified leather sourcing and ensure responsible manufacturing processes. On top of that, you really need to implement rigorous traceability programs. Your supply chain needs to be an open book. And finally, you have to prioritize durable product designs over planned obsolescence. Look, I get it, yes, these require some really significant upfront operational investments, but they are absolutely crucial if you want to maintain your brand equity in this new landscape. All right, shifting gears to part four, the travel rebound. As global travel has triumphantly bounced back, consumers are dropping serious cash on experience-driven accessories. We're tracking a huge resurgence in organization and mobility items. We're talking passport holders, travel wallets, really high-quality weekender bags, premium luggage accessories, and versatile crossbody travel bags. The modern traveler wants products that perfectly blend high-end style with rugged, on-the-go convenience. If you're leading a product development team, take note. This is a prime area for aggressive expansion right now. Next up is part five, digital-first market domination. It's no secret that the pandemic permanently accelerated e-commerce, but the non-negotiable pillars of the omni-channel shopping experience, those are fully set in stone now. The buying journey today is incredibly research-heavy. Buyers demand incredibly detailed product information and high-quality videos so they can practically feel the texture of the leather right through their screens. They also rely heavily on authentic customer reviews. And, of course, they expect lightning-fast delivery along with frictionless, super easy returns. The brands that are gaining a competitive advantage right now are the ones mastering this unified digital ecosystem. Your digital storefront absolutely must be as immaculate and as informative as your flagship physical stores. Finally, Part 6, Strategic Imperatives for Tomorrow. Looking ahead, your market share is going to be governed by a few core, continuous trends. Demand will be sustained by functional luxury and sustainable sourcing that results in truly timeless designs that easily outlast those fleeting seasonal trends. From a product development standpoint, hybrid work accessories and travel-focused products are going to be your real growth engines. And operationally speaking, the shift toward direct-to-consumer sales models is only going to strengthen. Why? Because it gives you better margins and much tighter, more direct relationships with your end users. Make no mistake, these are the new structural pillars of the leather goods industry. So, the ultimate executive mandate going forward is crystal clear. The brands that succeed will be those that balance craftsmanship, quality, sustainability, and modern consumer needs. You absolutely do not have to abandon your heritage of traditional craftsmanship. In fact, you should lean into it. But your survival and your future growth, that requires you to seamlessly merge that deep tradition with modern consumer agility and a real sense of purpose. Which brings us to one final, absolutely critical question for your C-suite. How are your product lines adapting to the post-pandemic consumer? Seriously, think about it. Are you still operating on a 2019 playbook, or have you fully pivoted to purpose, total transparency, and functional value? The leather goods market is moving fast, and it is leaving legacy thinkers in the dust. Thank you so much for joining me for this strategic briefing. Use these insights, adapt your strategies accordingly, and I'll see you in our next explainer.